So this brand, I believe it's been largely designed to be an alternative to a rib for many of you, but I think there's going to be a whole category of you guys out there watching who are also going to look at this particular boat as an alternative to a more substantial but a much more expensive adventure boat. But there is one weird little quirk to it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iron Boats, the 827 Coupe, based on the same hull as the 827. Trying not to get my brand new white shoes wet. It's freezing cold, by the way. It's 16 degrees here in Sydney. I'm not used to this temperature, so I'm doing my best. But the Iron Boats, this is part 3. So if you haven't seen part 1 in Melbourne and part 2 in Queensland, we're having a bit of an adventure, and today we're in Sydney. And because it is the middle of winter, I'm really happy to be doing this Coupe for you because it is an all-weather boat. And I do honestly believe that some of you guys out there, because you all be getting into the comments and saying to me, can I test and can I review some more affordable boats? Well, I think this might be a solution for some of you because she's about half the price of some of the, yes, more substantial and bigger adventure boats, and they do have a lot more features on them. But I suspect for many of you how you're going to go boating, this little 827 Coupe, 827 meaning 8.27 meters, that's how they name them, but it's 27 feet. I think this thing might do 70% of what a lot of those adventure boats are going to do, and perhaps in your mind, for the perhaps up to 50% saving, you're going to see a lot of value in this. So come on in close. Let's just refresh your memory. If you haven't seen an iron boat before, I'll just quickly give you the run through. It's a fiberglass hull. A lot of you were commenting, is it aluminium? No, it's not. It's a fiberglass hull, and I'm just a huge, big fan of this amazing fender here. So this thing wraps around the bow, like you can see. It is huge. Just for some perspective, it's massive. You really don't need to stuff around with actual fenders on this boat. Didn't even see any on board. Have we got any on board? We don't need them. So your life is really simple. It's very similar to a rib, but it's less maintenance than a rib. So you're not going to pop one of these. They're not going to fade like they do after a few seasons, and then you need to replace the tubes themselves. So this could be a little bit longer lasting and a little bit more rugged for some of you. So as you can also see, this one's been done, just to get a look at it, in the white. So the other irons that I featured on the channel have been black and grey, which is cool, but potentially a little bit hot on your bum. So I think this is cool with the matte black finishings and the upholstery, which you can change as well. And the Coupe is what we're going to focus on. So let's jump on board. The concept behind these boats, they basically just get longer. So these are a trailerable hull. They came up on the trailer from Melbourne, and they are the same width. They just get longer. And then the center console and the seats, basically you just get more space. There are some minor differences from the smallest model as you get up to the bigger one. And obviously the Coupe is a lot different to all the other opens, but they keep the production simple and therefore the costs down. These will also fit in a container rather than having to ship them in a cradle, which is a lot more expensive, and that's why you can achieve a much lower price point on a boat like this, which if you're watching in Australia, you know what that's all about because we're at the other end of the world. And now if you've seen my channel before, you also know that I have pretty short legs. And so doing that maneuver is kind of hard on some boats. But on this thing, it's quite simple. We have a coffee shop there. There's an even better coffee shop over there. And being able to do exactly what I just did is kind of fun. So, because it's cold, because it's bloody 16 degrees, I didn't want to get my feet wet, I wanted to leave my shoes on. This thing allowed me to do that. Some boats, they are just going to be a little bit too high. You are going to get your feet wet, and that can be a drama in this channel full of first world problems. Come on, get in a little bit closer and let's check it all out. So we do have a lot more space, and this bow lounge here. It's fine for 2 people. You can sit around, but this little ledge here is actually designed in such a way for an infill to turn this into a moderately sized sunbed. So 2 people are going to be able to kick back and enjoy themselves. You might be able to get creative, maybe with a fishing rod holder, and put a cool beach umbrella up here in summer. I think that would be sensible, because you would be able to, provided the umbrella will fold up in half, which most of the cool ones do, you can store it in here. So you've got the cushions, you've got the base, you can see I've got my bag there as well. We can get underneath this floor, and that gets us into the tunnel bow thruster, and behind this sheet just in here gets us in to immediately behind the helm. Before I close this, just pay attention to these 2 tubes, this one here and this one here. That is allowing air to enter the cabin as a demister, which we'll see when we get into the boat. So that's kind of handy, and I'm just going to show you underneath here. So that's where you're going to stow your anchor, and you're literally just going to hand deploy it. It's in the box just there. All you need is a relatively small sized sand anchor, a little bit of chain, and go straight to rope. It's not a complicated effort on a boat like this, and just attach it to any one of your cleats. One of the useful things of a boat this size and just having to anchor in that manner is if you have some boat wash exposed to your beach, you just stick the nose up, but as you're on final approach to the beach, you deploy the anchor, and that actually keeps the boat in position if any waves come through and want to lay it sideways onto the beach. So that's kind of handy. So let's focus on this. It really does make this thing an all-weather boat. I can see even people up in Thailand and some of my mates in Southeast Asia who are now getting in touch with me enjoying a boat like this. Maybe some lithium batteries and a small AC unit could be something you could think about in the future as well, because it just makes it possible for transiting all locations. We've got a windscreen wiper, we've got this cool little ledge, we've got the forward-facing LED bar light. I guess that's going to be handy in some countries. We've got our LED nav lights. I've got a horn just here on the port side, and it's a center line, so I've got equal amount of space to pass forward and aft, and same size doors as well. So Brett, I think, give me the camera, you jump on, and then you can follow me down the side of this boat. You can see you've got the midship cleats just there, and then you've got nice grab holds just up here. And one of the first things I'm going to point out, so you stay there. Yes, it's a neat boat. It's not huge, but even 5'7" Dan can see straight out the roof. So if someone needed to open that hatch, actually come back here and look forward, Brett, I'll point this out. You know, some boats, they've got these center opening storage spaces, and if you're underway and someone opens it, see how you can't see? So now pop the camera up through the roof, you can see over it. So you just got to stand up, just open the thing. Like it's not the end of the world. Whereas some boats, you totally do lose your visibility, and that's a little bit of a drama. So port side helm, as you can see, you might have already noticed these seats just flip up to give you a little bit more space in and out. The seats themselves are fixed. So this is how much space you have, and you can see I actually can't touch just there, so I'd have to lean forward a little bit. So taller blokes you're catered to, but what you may not be able to see with the camera is there is another ledge just here. So when you're going fast, that actually becomes quite a nice place to put your feet and get a little bit of pressure back through your body so you can secure your back into the backrest, because we will do up to 53 knots if you buy yourself on this thing. We've got the single V10 400 horsepower. We did 52 knots today with a little bit of waves and 2 people on board. So this thing, it's really quick. You don't have to have the 400. You can dial it down if you wish, but hey, who's going to do that? So anyway, we've got capacity to have 2 screens up here, and I think is Simrad offering one big widescreen now? So that's the future, guys. Big widescreen, touchscreen displays. We've got all our systems on buttons down on the port side. We've got our kill switch and our key start, but you actually just set it to on, because with these new Mercury throttles, it's just a push button there. We got active trim on this one. We got the bow thruster, got a little glove box, and we got our Clarion stereo and 2 drink holders just here. One issue which we did identify in the sea trial, which if you're interested, we're going to be doing that later in the video, is this white here reflects up on the glass. The local dealers already were aware of that on arrival, and they're changing this to grey. So that's just one of those things. Now the air vents, can you see just there and there? That's where they exit. We haven't had any issues whatsoever for visibility, no condensation, and we didn't even have any waves or any wash up on the glass. We haven't cleaned any of this glass. It is exactly as it was after multiple runs out in some lumpy water today. Now also pay attention to this design here. So how we've got the pillars on starboard and port, they've put a window there and there. So that's really good for your viz. And you've got your windscreen wiper operation up here, which is kind of handy. You've got a grab handle just there. So everyone really does feel nice and secure. And this is a very fun, enjoyable boat to drive. So you are going to enjoy maneuvering yourself around a little bit and having some active driving experiences. I think that's going to be a large part of the enjoyment on this boat for many of you. So this backrest will remove, and there's an infill which goes in here, and you can turn this into, I don't know if you're going to be sleeping on a boat like this. That's maybe some of you will. Actually, I know some of you, you've stopped me on the beach saying you're having midlife crises and you were going to buy a boat and do some boat camping on the way north. So if that's you, cool, leave a comment below. That sounds like a lot of fun instead of a motorbike. I get it. But I think the idea is maybe just to have a day bed out of the weather. So if you want to sit in here on your laptop, protected, all good. The weird thing, get in here and have a look so everyone can see this. Can you see that? That's a dunny. So maybe not for, it might not be weird for Swedish people. I've chartered quite a few yachts in Greece, and I've been, the first time it was a little bit shocking, but then I started seeing it again and again. There's Swedish flags on the back, and the whole family was like in the nude. So maybe that's normal for other people. I understand if you've got young kids and they just need someone to go to the toilet. That's probably what they were thinking, because if you're in a cold place and you don't want to just let the little tackers go for a swim and just pee in the ocean, this is probably the solution. And because we've got the bow thruster forward, I think that raises our floor in that storage area forward of the helm that I showed you before, which doesn't allow you enough headroom to have a sit-down toilet. I think that's the reason why they've done that. And I know in many countries, that sort of thing is acceptable. So it's just a little bit weird here. Anyway, we got some storage underneath us just here. You can get a decent sized day bag, and 2 adults are going to be more than comfy. And see, I've got enough headroom. I've got about that much above my head there, and you've got these little armrests. This all is quite comfortable. And again, if you're in the active, fast driving 50 knots mode, I'd be putting my feet there and really planting myself into the backrest. And I'm going to be happy as Larry. They've even allowed some jacket hooks up here, and I've got reading lights on either side. So I do suspect when you got this in bed mode, it's going to be quite pleasant if that's what you intend on doing. So that's cool. Now, I'm not sure if I pointed out before, these doors have got different positions. So you can lock it open, but then you can lock it in this position. You can lock it in that position. Then you can just crack it in this position, and then it goes all the way closed. It operates quite easily, and as I said, it appears to be a very dry ride because we haven't actually had any water up on the decks. Next thing, these gunnels are of a decent height. When you combine it with the grab handle just up here, I find if you were in a wavy or in a boat wash affected place, you're just going to slide your bum along the gunnel and you're going to retain a good balance, and you're not going to feel, like you're going to fall in the drink. Okay, welcome to the transom. This is kind of cool, this aft cockpit area. So you do have an optional table, which this boat doesn't have, which can utilize this area for a little bit of lunch. And you can also get a fridge underneath this seat here. So let's just have a look at this. Actually, maybe you go on that side and have a look there because the light might be a little bit better. So it's all quite cute and neat. If you were super tall, you may not be able to get in under here. It's fine for me. It's going to be fine for the girls. This is going to be a nice place to get out of the wind if you're on the anchor, because the bow will be pointing into the wind. This will be nice and cozy. And then the bigger blokes probably back here because they got more headroom, but it works. It absolutely works. I do suspect many of you are going to be considering using a boat like this for the function that we've applied to it today, pulling up on the beach and visiting, you know, cafes and restaurants and that sort of thing, which it's going to excel in my opinion. So we can see the looks like a Lumar sunroof sliding. That's all pretty stock standard stuff here. This looks like black aluminium, which is fine. Got a grab handle just there. Everything feels quite solid, and we've got storage and also technical access underneath this aft seat here. So let's point out as much as we can. Those are vents going in. We've got a couple of drink holders. They're really only going to hold tinnies. I'm not sure if you can have a cooler on the tinny. It may not have the width for that. You've got a couple of speakers here. That's your battery switch operation just there. That goes up on gas struts, and now we can see the two floor drains going through the stainless steel grates here. They exit below the waterline with a seacock just there. You've got a bilge pump on the center line. This is nice to see the fuel filter just here, easily accessible. This will be the hydraulics for the Merc 400. That's going to become standard with this motor. We've got our battery here. This is actually a water tank just here. Can you see that on the screen? So that's the water tank. That's actually for the shower, which we'll point out in a sec. And you can see we've got all of our safety gear stowed in this location as well. This is going to be for towing a skier. Probably wouldn't tow boats. Oh, it's pretty strong. Yeah, I wouldn't tow boats with it. I think it's just for towing a skier, but it is quite strong. And what's this mounting for? VHF aerial? Yeah, right, okay. Nice, and make sure it's black. Don't get a white one, that'd be silly. So come on out the back here. We've actually got a decent amount of space for having fun. Two little transoms, but they both, like on all the other iron boats, pop up. This is going to be the place. Obviously, you can tuck your lines in here as we have for convenience, but I would also be stowing anything swimming or diving or snorkeling related in that location. Same again on the other side. And this was my pull-out swim shower just here. Boom, boom, cold water only. Plastic, looks like stainless, easily accessible. And I think these are my fuel and water intakes just over here. So pass me the camera, I'll show you guys. That one is, yep, that's fuel and 300 litres from memory. That's water just there. We've got the breathers, and then same again on the port side. This is going to be technical access to get in behind the transom just there, I would say. And as you can see, we've got the beautiful big 400. I think if you can, just get it. Like, it's a lot of fun. But rather than talk about that, I think I just have to show you because, yeah, I know every boat builder gives you multiple options, engine options, and I'm always in favour of just taking the biggest if I have it available to me. So join me, let's go have some fun. Guys, before we get to the drive, I just want to ask for your help. We got to 25,000 subscribers just recently. I really want to get to 100,000 before Christmas. So please, just ask your wife to subscribe because I know they're watching and it says in the analytics it's all blokes. Or ask your neighbour or your kids or whoever is passionate about boats. I would really, really appreciate it. And if you're genuinely in the market for a boat and you want more behind the scenes information, good, bad, ugly, whatever we discover, I'm filming that content at the end of every shoot and I'm posting it to my Patreon page. Not straight away because I'm kind of busy with all the travel. So sometimes there's a bit of a delay to get it up online, but it is going there. And then for those of you who want to ask me questions or compare one boat with another, you can do that in the top tier of Patreon. I want to thank all of the recent Patreons. You guys are what's helping keep me independent because I don't get paid for these videos, and I'm trying to create a platform that's buyer focused so you can educate yourself and not buy the wrong boat and maybe have an awesome boat life yourself. Thank you. See you in the drive. So single 400 V10 Merc on this one, guys. We're going to just initially go straight out into the ocean through a little bit of lumpy sea. I'm a bit disappointed. We had huge swells only 3 days ago and definitely 4 days ago, but it's dissipated. We've got a bit of lumpy stuff, not much wind, little tiny bit of westerly wind and some sort of easterly slop, I guess I'm going to call it. So I'll do my best to demonstrate what we see. I don't have fuel flow on this screen, but I do have speed, revs. We're running with 245 litres of fuel in the tanks right now. 2 of us on board, a little bit of equipment. Let's go. Okay, so I'm just going to initially run the boat at sensible speeds and we'll just talk about the feel. I've got both doors closed and I have, well, quite conveniently, I've got the roof cracked open just here, one kayaker on my port bow, I'm clearing him, and that allows a little bit of airflow to come through. Whilst it is a cold day today, I started overheating a little bit with my winter jacket on, so I decided to crack that and get some air, but I was still happy to have the sides closed because it is quite cold air if you have too much of it. But we do have the ability to use these rods which we lower and we can fix the position. So just coming around the point now, going to get exposed to whatever is out in the ocean, looking for waves. Huge amount of dolphins today. We've seen scores of dolphins, so if we need to do some sudden adjustments to our course, that is why. I've got a whale watching boat coming in. I'm hoping he's going to stay past me on my port side and maintaining 21 knots. He's come off the plane. I'm going to keep heading around to the southerly direction, and we've got some ocean swells and then some boat wash. Okay, not too big as you can see, more of the lumpy type. 21 knots. All right, I think I just saw a whale exhaling, but that was off in the distance, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to maintain this southerly direction into, what is this? Sort of an easterly swell, confused, bouncing off the rocks. I don't feel the need to stand up. I'm comfortable. I like having the windows in these pillars just here. The guys locally are going to be changing this white fiberglass and putting some sea deck on it, because that would definitely, on a sunny day, that would cause an interference with the reflection on the glass. So they're already onto that, and I would recommend anywhere in the world, if you get the white boat, consider that. That's just going to be something you'll have to factor in with your dealer. Yeah, this is a good little experience. 21 knots. I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel warm, I feel protected. So let's turn around, let's get closer to those rocks. 2,900 revs, so I'm going to be low on the fuel consumption. Nice heel angle there, through the swells. The sharp angles of the hull, they might meet some of the waves at times, so you might hear a bang, which is common on any sort of flat-sided boat when you expose it to the swells. So just be aware of that. Whenever you can, angle the boat to take those swells nose on. So that feels good. 22 knots. No need to speed up yet. I just want to really feel it out. Obviously, the further forward you go in the hull, the bumpier the ride's going to be. So any of your guests sitting behind you are going to have a even more pleasant and calm ride than what you will at the helm. And definitely don't put anyone in the bow when you're in the ocean. If you're doing speeds like this, if you're whale watching, you can definitely do it when you slow down and you're in displacement speed. A couple of lumpy ones here, so I've got a mixture of everything. But that's good, and I'm going to start speeding up when we enter the harbour and get into some of the more protected waters. Got one ferry there. I'm going to be looking out for kayakers. I'm definitely keeping an eye out for dolphins, because we've seen, I'm not kidding, we've probably seen, what do you reckon, 40 dolphins? Nice. Yeah. That's the great thing about Australia. Oh, there you go, there's a big one. you do get exposed to so much more wildlife in the ocean than what you seem to see, or what I seem to encounter in other countries. Okay, I'm not going to race this ferry. I'm actually going to go behind him, so I'll show my intentions. And showing my intentions, I'm going to go behind him, sped up to 26 knots. That's 3,300 revs. The engine noise is hardly noticeable inside this cabin. You can actually hear a lot more of the water passing underneath the boat than what you do with regards to engine noise, and we'll check that further when we get into the flat water. Okay, still in considerable lumpy stuff, but feeling good, 25 knots. Let's wind the boat up a little bit. Let's see if we can skip over some of these bumps. So I've got the active trim on at the moment, just letting it do its thing. I can override it if I want. Bit of boat wash here, boom, boom. Feels good. No need to stand up. And skip over the next ones. 29 knots. 29 knots, feeling good. Okay, now I'm gonna start making my way into Middle Harbour. Got lots of boat traffic leaving Sydney Boat Show, which ended yesterday, so I'm just looking out for everyone because they're all going to their various offices in different locations. Clear of the kayakers, can't see anyone on skis. I'm maintaining 30 knots now at 3,600 revs, and my total fuel, according to the gauge, is about 242 litres. Obviously we're on an angle, so it's not going to be completely accurate. So let's hook it in here. We'll start to wind the speed up. I feel like I've got so much more to play with, and I obviously do, which you will see in a second. We'll just keep it easy initially. We'll just cruise our way down here because we're not in flat water. We've got surge making its way in and out of this bay here. And this is where we saw a lot of the dolphins before, so I'm just going to take it easy. I'm scanning further forward. And for some of you guys, or particularly for your kids, if you're buying this boat for your kids, just make sure you educate them on some of the techniques of high-speed driving. And all I really want to refer to is making sure their situational awareness goes really far forward and out to the horizon, and don't be looking super close, which is what they may have done if they've only driven your smaller tender off the back of the big boat, where you're doing speeds in and around the 10 to 15 knots. It's going to be a different kettle of fish when you're cruising at 4,100 revs at 34 knots, easy peasy. So I'm just going to hook it up here. We'll get into some flat water. Look at that, 36, 37 knots. So much power and acceleration to play with here. I'm going to actually take the boat to a full stop, and then we will do from starting to full speed, and we'll see what we can achieve whilst we have some flat water available to us, and we appear to be all clear on the dolphins. Fantastic. So we're going to come in here, come off the plane, dissipating my waves there. So I note that I haven't got any water on any of these windows just yet, and that's quite interesting. And I also saw in the design, which, yeah, good, that's good, no water up on the back. These air channels here, if you like, they suck air in and then send it up onto the windscreen, so it's going to stop it from getting too foggy. All right, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so she's conservative up and out of the hull, but we're moving. 22, 26, 30. Okay, here we go. I might want to override it soon. 37, 40, putting my feet up. Now I feel secure. I'm ripping along. 47 knots, 48 knots, 50 knots. We've still got more to play with. Overriding the trim, 51 knots. 51.9, 52 knots, overriding the trim, running out of space in 3, 2, 1. Weehaw! 52 knots with someone on board. This is probably a 53 knot boat if you're by yourself. That was a lot of fun. That was also a conservative acceleration. It wasn't so ridiculous that someone who doesn't have a great deal of experience is going to get themselves into trouble. Let's just get over here and do a couple of moderately fast to faster turns and see how she feels in the flat water. Alrighty. What I'm going to do is whip it over here. Yeah, that feels fun. You can really enjoy yourself on this. 4 people on board is a maximum, I think, if you want to do the fast stuff. And I'm going to just rip it in front of this catamaran and go across his bow. There we go. Let's get out of his way. Just watching out for some traffic here. Yeah, a lot of fun, guys. I think the protection we have available to us just makes this an all-weather boat. Let's tighten that turn up. You know, you're not going to drive around like this all day, but you certainly can. And whilst I think some of you are going to be comparing this to as an alternative to a rib, it offers so much more than a rib. I really do believe there's going to be a sector of you out there, or a small sample of you out there, that are also going to see this as an alternative to a more expensive adventure boat. So that's a consideration I think some of you need to put down on your comparison sheet, because this will definitely do about 70% of what a lot of you are wanting to do on some of those adventure boats, which are going to cost twice the money. So that's a consideration for you to really think about and dial into your needs. Think about the must-haves versus the would-likes, because from what we just experienced there, I do believe this could be a boat that is going to meet quite a few of your needs for many of you out there looking in the market right now. So that's interesting. Let's go and have a play with the anchor, the bow thruster, and stick her on the beach. So the anchor's still in its box, guys. It's brand spanking new, and there really is not a lot to it. It's just a couple of meters of chain and a sand anchor, and then straight to rope. So, you know, that's pretty straightforward, and not really much I can show you with that. But what I do want to point out is some real great advantages of this walk around, great fender, and this size of boat in what you can do, or the options it gives you for getting people on and off a dock, or getting yourself secured. So I'm just going nose in right now, just simulating picking up a mate, basically. So just come in like this, just creep forward. See how I've got great sight lines forward? I can control the whole thing. And because I have that fender there, I can just touch it on the dock without having any issues whatsoever. And I'm gonna just give it a little click. See that? And even if it just touches now, I'm not worried, but someone can quite easily board from that distance, and I can control it with the bow thruster, which today, unfortunately, is not working because we've blown a fuse. But that's not the end of the world, because now I just want to bring the boat alongside, which I'm going to do right now, and just demonstrate how easy it is to secure this boat in a marina situation. So just give it a little, there we go, and touch. I can literally, ensuring that I'm in neutral when I leave the helm, I can just hold on to the thing. Look at that fender. It's giving us so much protection. Even though this is a high dock, I'm still pretty much safe with this fender here. So I can just hang on to the thing. I've got plenty of time to sort myself out. And if I did want to whip out a couple more small fenders for keepsakes, then I can do it. So I just love having this size of boat. And look at that, just push the thing and I'm clear of the dock. If I was in a little bit of wind, I could also utilize a bow thruster, and then with some engine thrust and the wheel down, that clears me away from the dock. But this is a size and weight and style of boat. Remember, it's trailerable, that you can just really manhandle or manage by yourself. That's the point I wanted to get across here. So what do you reckon, guys? The 827 Coupe, is this a rib alternative? Come in and have a yarn. Is this a rib alternative for you? Were you considering something for your kids or yourself just to run around, and now you can see this is the all-weather alternative to that. Were you looking at even something like a plate aluminium fishing boat or adventure style alloy boat, and did you come across this brand and now you're thinking that could also do the job because you trailer everywhere and you're going, wow, this is something I hadn't considered? Or, as I suspect some of you may discover this as a cheaper adventure boat alternative. I understand it doesn't have the stepped hulls, and I understand it doesn't have the full-on sleeping cabins and the big toilets that you can find on some of the similar size adventure boats, but it's about half the price. So you really need to have a good hard think about what is your mission. I say this a lot, but I really mean it. What is your mission? What are the things you must have that you really enjoy doing? And then what are those other things that you may just occasionally do or possibly never? Because if you can dial in quite seriously your needs, then the answer will come in terms of what boat is going to suit you. And if you can save 50% on the price, well then go and do something else cool with that money, because everybody likes to save money. So I reckon this is a good piece of kit. I reckon this is going to be fun in a lot of parts of the world. I travel to many places that are going to see value out of an enclosed cabin like this, hot and cold. Hot and cold. I would really, really like to experience this in a really cold place, even though it's, to me, really cold today, but also in a hot country. I wonder whether we can AC these and make it suitable for somewhere like Singapore and jetting out to the islands from there. That would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to link to some competition on the screen right now. I love you lots. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.